Welcome back to Catholic Lunch Break here on AM 1430. This is the weekly program where we catch up with all things Catholic in the greater Houston area. This is Wyatt Goolsby, Executive Director of this radio station. Café Catholica, one of the biggest events for young people put on by the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston, is coming up very soon. Next Monday, June 30th, is the first of 4 Monday evenings for Mass, dinner, keynote speech, and, of course, lots of fellowship. Join us on the program to talk more about that, as well as his involvement with the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston, is Neil Albaña. Neil is the Associate Director of Young Adult and Campus Ministry for the Archdiocese. Neil, thanks for coming in and talking all about yourself and Café Catholica. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I want to talk all about the excitement for Café Catholica, but first, just to set this up, you've now been with the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston about a year now, I want to say. But you yourself are not originally from Texas. You're originally from the Philippines, had gone to a Catholic school in North Dakota, and ended up studying theology and evangelization. My first question for you, Neil, is what do you think it is about theology and evangelization that grew an interest in you? Why did you want to participate in something like that?
That's a good question. I would say in high school, I was really involved in the Acts retreats that are, I'm sure you're familiar with them here in Texas. And that was kind of one of my first doors that opened to allowing me to grow deeper in my faith. So I got really involved there, helped out with music, worship, the talks, and a few of the other service background things. And that's how I really got involved with the church. And that love just grew more. And actually, I was preparing initially to go into pre-med and medical school, but I just had this strong love for and desire to want to know and learn more about our faith. And the opportunity presented itself after my high school days, where I was invited by my youth minister to sign up to be a missionary with Net Ministries National Evangelization Teams, which is now an international organization. They have missionaries in Uganda, Ireland, Australia, and then obviously their first one was here in the United States. So I served with them for a year, and I was on a retreat team, so we were set up in California, and we were actually the first team to just be in California because there was such a big demand for retreats there. We would go do a retreat almost every day at a Catholic school or a parish. Sometimes there were just a day retreat as little as 2 hours, sometimes as long as a whole weekend. And I think that was very formative for me because it grew my love for evangelization and allowed me to share in the Father's heart for his compassion for his people as well, especially in a state, as secular, quote unquote, secular as California. But even in those places, we got to visit Alhambra, where the missionaries of charity are, the Carmelites are, and we would visit devout Catholic homes where we would see how devout they were in the midst of this, quote unquote, secular society. So it was really inspiring and edifying for myself and our teammates, and it wanted me to do more of that. So I actually ended up doing 2 years of NET as a missionary, just traveling around part of the United States doing retreats for young people, middle school and high school age.
Well, I would think that kind of experience, doing that kind of retreats and evangelization work, would really be beneficial to your role here with young adults and campus ministry in Houston, because there are so many places, so many different churches, so many different parishes that already knowing how to organize some of these retreats, some of these Catholic events kind of works in your favor.
Definitely. It's definitely helped out a lot. After that experience, I went and studied theology with the University of Mary in North Dakota. But I'm sure you might know President Monsignor Shea. Monsignor James Shea, he gave he gave a keynote at the Eucharistic Congress last year. But he was wonderful, and they have a solid and robust theology program, and that's where I got to study more and dive deeper into my faith, and ended up working for the diocese there, so that added to my experience there as well. And then now in Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston, I would say that the Archdiocese here is a lot larger than, significantly larger than the Diocese of Bismarck, North Dakota. So still learning the ropes, but I think that foundation of setting, doing retreats for young people and then doing it in a larger scale has definitely contributed to this. And I'm thankful to our staff at the Young Adult and Campus Ministry Office, my director Angie, and another associate director of ours who's been there for longer than I have, Talia Romero, and they've been great help and witnesses to the faith and how to go about my job properly. So.
Well, I've always given, a lot of those folks credit with the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston, especially when it comes to organizing some of these big events like Café Catholica, because it's not easy. I can't imagine, but they are always, I found, Neil, been very successful in the years that I've attended, recent years, being able to go to different churches and being able to successfully get young people, again, from across the Houston area to come to one location, which is difficult in and of itself in our area. This year, it's going to be back at St. Vincent de Paul, as Café Catholica was last year. Luckily, when you came on board, you were able to you were there in time for Café Catholica.
I was.
What was your impression when you saw all the young people come out there from different parishes? I can imagine it was a bit of a culture shock compared to the work that you're doing in North Dakota.
Yeah, the first thought I had was like, wow, this scale is much more grand than I had expected. But it was beautiful to see how the young adults interacted with each other, how open they were to conversation, how open they were to speaking with the different sponsors. I think it was just mentioned Loving Choice, all these different sponsors that are there for not, and maybe for a larger population, but it's in particular for young adults, services for them and ways that they can contribute to the community as well, be that charity work or going into counseling, things like that. It was impressive to see how involved the young adults here were. And it's actually one of the main things that we try to do with Café Catholica as of recent years is to do a Café Connect program where, because Café Catholica is so large, between 500 to 1,000 or more people, young adults come each event. There could be this temptation to kind of fall behind and not necessarily connect with other young adults just because you're not as seen as much. And this is where Café Connect kind of comes in. And we're actually already trained our facilitators. We asked them to sign up. And how Café Connect works is it invites young adults to go deeper into Café, and in particular having these smaller discussion groups of about 10. It helps them build community with young adults and reflect on themes of that event. They don't necessarily have to attend the event, but it just helps them connect with other young adults that have had that shared experience. And in a lot of ways, it also helps promote the young adult communities in the different parishes as well, because we asked different leaders from different young adult groups from across the Archdiocese and asked them, hey, would you be willing to sign up for a Café Connect, be a facilitator to help kind of bolster up what you guys are already doing at, let's say, St. Francis de Sales, St. Anthony of Padua and the Woodlands and things like that. So we try to outreach as far as that so that young adults that come, that they might be from that area, they're saying, oh, I didn't know there was a young adult ministry or group near my hometown. I would love to go visit that. And that from there they can build community. And it's more intentional because it's a smaller group. And that's something that we want to encourage our young adults to sign up for as well. And they can sign up as late as that first night on Café Catholica. We have a sign-up table for that. Otherwise, it's going to be online, available on archdh.org/Café Catholica as well. That's a neat opportunity for young adults to dive deeper.
And it makes sense to me to have something like that Connect group because, again, you get that intimate experience as well as the big experience with everyone else. So it gets people involved. It gets people involved in the life of the church and their own community as well. And I think that's really smart to try to put those Café Connects near where people are near if they have friends or groups or other young people around that same area. So it really makes sense. Again, I wanted to ask you to go back for a second, Neil, because you said you've had an interest in evangelization for a long time. And, of course, the work that you do really involves evangelization. I just want to ask you your encouragement for young people to get involved in evangelization. That may seem like a big word at first. People don't know, if they're young people, they don't know what that involves. Give me some simple tips here about how people can get involved in the work of evangelization in the church in general.
Definitely. I would say, before anything, our Lord is the first primary, and He's the one that draws us into that decision in the first place. So first step is definitely to be open and to pray. Ask for His heart for His people. And then He's very particular about showing you where in particular He wants you to serve. It's going to resonate depending on your background, depending on what you've gone through before, or it might just be a spark or a flame that He ignites within you. So always start with prayer, and then that always continues. That never stops throughout your whole discernment, and even in your serving process as well. Always continue discerning and moving. That I would say that's the first step. And the second step is to go out and reach out to the different opportunities that are out there. Guadalupe Radio does a great job of promoting these different opportunities to serve. Get involved with other.
I'm running out of time, Neil, but I just want to thank you one more time, Neil Albaña. Again, check out archgh.org, Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston, for more on Café Catholica. Thank you so much.